It is October of 2022. It is finally fall here in the desert. You got a lot of things accomplished this week. I guess the first thing and most important, in the nick of time, you finished what?
Fertilizing. Took me all month, but I got it done.
So obviously when it comes to fertilizing, we fertilize in September, February, and May. And we took, well, you took the entire month of September to get that done, but hey, it still counts.
Yeah,
high five.
I got done in September.
That is a quick reminder to you guys, as you're seeing this, you're already well into October. If you are gonna fertilize, get it done right now. If not, wait until we run into February. Then you'll be fine. So you guys know that we've lost a couple pigs. So we lost 2 runts back to back. We found another person that was selling pigs that were about the size of our larger ones, right? So you went and got those this week.
Yes, went and got 2 of them.
And those look to be some type of Berkshire cross. One of the things that I like about them is they're usually very active. That's exactly what we want. And I'm a big fan of Berkshire pigs.
Yeah.
So we got 2 of them. The problem is we had all the other pigs picking on those 2.
And it's not like it's just one picking on them. There's 18 of them that are all trying to figure out who they are.
So those have been separate for a couple of days just to make sure they can get used to the farm. Everybody gets a chance to pass the sniff test and they're comfortable before we release them back into the herd.
Yeah.
But you built them a nice little enclosure.
Yeah, we didn't have any shade over there, so I quickly threw some pallets together and at least gave them a spot to where they can get into shade, get out of the sun if they want to.
So another one of those redneck ingenuity is the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
We've been harvesting our loofahs. We got dozens of them at this point.
We have.
So what do you do with this thing?
I use it as a sponge in the shower. I think I'll try to use it at the sink as a sponge because you can do that as well. And then as soon as I get some of like a good size ones, like better round ones, I'm gonna slice it and try to do the loofah soaps.
Ooh, that's kind of cool. So goat milk loofah soaps.
Yeah, and we've been pulling them to where they're not fully dried because they're a lot easier to peel. Because when they're fully dry, they're really hard to peel it. But when they're just starting to dry, they're really easy to peel the whole thing off.
It is absolutely planting season. We are below 100 degrees, probably from here on out. We may tap it a couple times, but we've got mid 90s or lower for the next week and a half in the forecast. So that means we need to get to planting, but the area we're planting in today is infested with ducks and geese. And we've got one little duck that has decided she knows how to fly. She flies over that fence and just starts tearing through the weeds. So we're gonna do something that we may regret. What we're actually gonna be doing with you guys today is doing a couple of plantings. These are 2 fig trees that we actually got from Natasha with Enlightenment Garden. Natasha, thank you so much. We did our best to keep everything alive, and these 2 survived all summer. So they're hardy enough to get into the ground now. I am gonna link her YouTube channel down below for you guys. She is in town and has an incredible backyard that she's turned into this wonderful Zen garden. I mean, it's beautiful, and she knows what she's doing when it comes to fruit trees, and these figs are no exception, so we're really excited to get these in the ground. One of the things that's going to be unique about this planting as compared to what we typically do with our trees is these will not be on irrigation. Here in the duck and goose enclosure, we're going to be hand watering these, a lot of times with pond water, probably at least once a month. But more importantly, we're going to be planting these up against a fence. A lot of you are in small backyards and you're dealing with fences and trying to figure out how to plant the area. We're going to be doing the same thing with these here today as we get them planted. We're going to show you how we're going to be designing our rings in order to get the watering done most efficiently, and also what's going to do best for the trees here in our desert environment. Put it more like there though.
Out a little bit more?
Yeah, that gives us about 3 feet.
Okay.
That needs to be a little deeper. That's about perfect, isn't it? So you'll notice pretty quickly that we did something similar to our standard irrigation rings. However, because we're up against a wall, we don't have an entire ring. Fig tree roots are generally very aggressive, so if you're up against a fence, you need to keep that in mind. So what we're trying to do with this design is encourage that root growth to go to the sides and forward. That way it stays basically inside our pen. It would be the same thing in your backyard. So at the ends of each one of the outside rings, you'll notice that we built up a small berm to keep the water from pushing up against the fence. Now, of course, the inside ring, we need to make sure this newly planted tree has water all the way around it, completely saturating the roots when we water these infrequently. But we need to make sure that those roots have access to water all the way around it. We don't want to have any stunting on the very small tree. Eventually we'll block that off, and the only thing that will be irrigated is this outside ring. Much like the large rings that we typically do, we built a small spillway on either side of the outer ring. That focuses the water into the small ring when this tree is young to make sure that it's getting plenty of water there. At the same time, we have water going into the outside ring that's starting to give us nice soft soil as the tree roots continue to grow out and work into our hard pan dirt. You also saw us watering from the end of this here. This allows you to hand water because our hose puts out about 12 to 13 gallons per minute. We'll only need to water this for a few minutes, maybe once every week or two, in order to keep this tree well irrigated and happy. We are gonna go ahead and get it mulched nice and heavy. The idea, of course, is we put irrigation here, it immediately goes underneath the wood chips, and that is what allows the soil temperature to stay consistent, and of course the soil moisture, especially for us here in the desert. So it's nice to get those two trees planted. That is the beginning of our planting season here in the fall of 2022. Beginning, right? So we've got a couple pecan trees that we need to replace. We have another nut tree that we're going to be trying if we can track it down.
Yeah.
But we'll share that with you guys later. So I do want to mention the two fig varieties that we planted today. One of them was a green Greek, and the other one was a Pastiliere, something like that. So that brings our fig variety count up to what, 11?
11.
So we have 11 different fig varieties now. So, and after having that Jolly Rancher,
Oh my goodness.
woo, we may have to get one of those from the Fig Hunter. So just want to thank you guys for joining us today. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel. We cover a lot of things here on this newly established functioning farm in the Arizona desert, but would love to see you on a regular basis. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those in the comment section down below. And our Amazon shop, I'll leave a link down in the description. That is a free, painless way to help support the channel. If you start with the link down below, it doesn't matter what you buy, you help to support us here. So just want to thank you for joining us today and remind you, if we can farm on the edge of nowhere,
So can you.
Damn it. Ready to go inside?
Yes.
Even though it's nice in here.
Under a tree.
Under a tree.